wanted to do something constructive in my gap year rather than, I could do quite a lot of work, but I thought this was a bit more of a way of trying to help people out. And
Prince William just made a shocking decision. Princess Beatrice would be appointed a working member of the royal family. If you are wondering why a simple appointment caused so much worry, well, it's because Beatrice has always lived a secluded life. Even though she was once fifth in line to the throne, her indifference to public service has diminished her image, leaving many questioning her commitment to the British people. So, why did William decide to appoint Beatrice? And why is it causing so much drama? Join us as we expose the latest move that shocked Buckingham Palace: the Quiet Princess. Princess Beatrice is the first child of Prince Andrew, Duke of York, and Prince Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York. Since her birth on August 8, 1988, her position in the royal family has been spelled out. As the first daughter and granddaughter of Queen Elizabeth, she was never going to be on the ruling side of the country. However, she was the fifth in line to the throne. Unfortunately, she was never groomed for royal duties. As Princess Beatrice grew, she already had the consciousness that she must live her life as a silent royal. Right from childhood, Princess Beatrice lived quite differently from her cousins. As she grew up, her life differed from that of William. William had been prepared for kingship right from the moment he took his first step. Beatrice did not live a noisy or reckless life like Prince Harry, nor was she treated like a future queen compared to Kate Middleton. She wasn't the glamorous royal-turned-Hollywood star like Meghan Markle. The details of her life will leave you speechless. Beatrice is a royal who lived in the background, often overlooked, yet quietly making her way through life in a world where she was both privileged and somewhat lost. That's not all about her. We will reveal one interesting fact about her parents. Keep watching. When Beatrice was just a few years old, her parents, Andrew and Sarah, were popularly known, but not always for a good course, and their marriage crumbled. However, her parents were seen as the fun, down-to-earth royals who brought a bit of warmth to the monarchy. But besides the fun and joy they got to the monarch, their home was crashing. Trust the British tabloids. They picked every scandal, argument, and misstep of her parents, making it impossible for Beatrice and her younger sister, Eugenie, to have a genuine private childhood like every other child in the royal family did. When Beatrice was only 8 years old, her parents divorced in 1996. Then, divorce was still a bit of a scandal in royal circles, and the press mainly targeted her mother, Sarah Ferguson. According to Beatrice, one of the most embarrassing scandals of her parents was when her mother was photographed in a compromising position with an American businessman, which became one of the most talked about royal controversies of the decade. Beatrice was born into an odd position, unlike other royals, who had a clear path set out for them. She wasn't a full-time working royal, and by British tradition, she wasn't a formal part of the monarchy, and at the same time, she wasn't a complete outsider. Even though she was a secluded royal, she still had to represent the family at events, but without the benefits or the same level of public respect that came with being a senior royal. Her school years came with their challenges. While William and Harry attended Eton, an elite school meant to shape future leaders, Beatrice attended St. George's School in Ascot. She was intelligent and hardworking, but also struggled with something most people didn't know about. It is as if she was never built to be a leader, and the reasons will surprise you. When Princess Beatrice was 7 years old, she was diagnosed with dyslexia, a medical condition that makes reading and learning difficult. This condition made learning harder for her than most of her colleagues. For Beatrice, reading and writing didn't come naturally. She often had to work twice as hard to keep up, but instead of letting it discourage her, she embraced it, later becoming an advocate for dyslexia awareness. She often spoke about how her struggles made her more resilient and determined, proving that royals weren't immune to everyday challenges. Amidst all her challenges, Beatrice was known for her warm personality. She was friendly and approachable and had a close bond with her younger sister, Eugenie. As Beatrice grew up, the question of what her future would look like became more complicated. Unlike William and Harry, she had no guaranteed role in the monarchy. After finishing school, she attended Goldsmiths, University of London, where she studied history and the history of ideas. But what came next? That was the tricky part. Beatrice needed a job since royals who are not full-time working members like herself had to support themselves financially. How does a princess just go out and get a job? She tried different industries, working in finance, consulting, and later in technology. She held positions at companies like Affinity, an artificial intelligence firm, but no matter where she worked, she was always Princess Beatrice first. The challenge was that she wanted to be independent, but the public would never see her as another career woman. The problem does not only end at work. Even in her personal life, Beatrice faced the same problem. Their relationship lasted a decade when it started. To many, it seemed like they would eventually marry, but in the end, they broke up. The split was quiet, with no public drama, but Beatrice faced more pressure than ever. After the breakup with Dave, Beatrice's name would pop up in the tabloids, but never in the way that Kate Middleton's or Meghan Markle's did. Do not forget, she was just a quiet member of the royal family. She wasn't rich enough to dominate fashion headlines or controversial enough to spark heated debates. Instead, she quietly existed in the background, attending charity events, supporting causes close to her heart, and balancing royal life with personal ambition. But something happened that brought her into stardom. In 2011, Beatrice attended William and Kate's wedding. She was not there to give a speech or represent the royal family. She was just there as a regular family member to celebrate her cousin. But one thing stood out in her dress, which made the public and media gossip. It was her hat. The oversized, sculptural Philip Treacy hat she wore to the wedding was widely mocked online, becoming one of the most talked about elements of the entire event. The hat even became a meme. But instead of letting it bring her down, Beatrice turned the joke into something positive. She auctioned off the hat for charity, raising over 80,000 euros for UNICEF and children in crisis. This moment showed something about her character. She had a great sense of humor, and she knew how to take something negative and turn it into something good. As she entered her 30s, the question of what Beatrice's role should be remained unanswered. The monarchy was changing. Prince Charles was giving fewer people official duties. Prince William and Kate Middleton were at the forefront of this new vision. And that was when Prince William came up with an idea, his vision for the royal family's future. The good news is that he believes Beatrice has a vital role in this future, and why he reached that conclusion will surprise you. And that's what we are about to reveal next. Prince William's vision for the future. William understands he is the next king in line and has a great plan. He doesn't want to wait for the day he would be crowned. Unlike past generations, who mostly followed tradition without question, William understands that times have changed. He is actively making decisions that will affect the royal family and what the kingdom will look like under him. People don't accept the royal family as an unquestionable institution anymore. They want to know why it still exists, what it does, and whether it still has a place in modern society. William has been paying attention. He knows that if the monarchy is going to survive, it can't stay the same. It must be more relatable, efficient, and, most importantly, valuable to the people. You will be shocked to see William's plan. For instance, he wants to change the size of the working royal family. According to palace sources, William believes the monarchy should focus on a core group: himself, Kate, their children, and possibly a few senior royals. This vision is a significant departure from how things have traditionally been done. Remember that in the past, the monarchy included extended family members who also took on public roles. But William sees this as outdated. In his new vision for the royal family, He does not want the British public to pay for a long list of royals who don't perform actively in the government. His vision is clear: fewer royals, fewer expenses, but a stronger, more effective monarchy. The change William wants in his administration won't happen overnight, but the shift is already visible. Remember when Queen Elizabeth was alive? She had her children, grandchildren, and cousins representing the royal family. But since her passing, the new royals have seen a noticeable reduction. Charles, now king, has already started streamlining things, and William is set to continue that process when his time comes. What do you think is the driving force behind William's vision? Some people have traced his radical decisions to the impacts of his mother's legacies. While growing up, William has always watched his mother, Princess Diana, change how royals connected with people. She broke away from the stiff traditional image and became known as the people's princess because she was warm and approachable. He was not just watching his mother change the royal family. He also took the lesson to heart. He knows it will lose relevance if the royal family remains distant and formal. That's why he and Kate have worked hard to modernize their image. They take selfies with fans, engage with people casually, and show their personalities rather than appearing as untouchable figures. Another significant vision of what William planned to introduce to the royal family when he succeeded his father was how the royal family interacted with the media. William stated that instead of relying solely on the traditional press, they will embrace social media and digital platforms. You might be shocked why William is doing this even when King Charles is still early in his reign. William is already preparing for the moment he will take the throne. He studied how Queen Elizabeth maintained public trust and how Charles tackled the modern challenges of being king. But he knows that his reign will be different. By the time William became king, the world would have changed even more. According to royal historians, public attitudes toward the monarchy will continue to evolve, and younger generations may question whether the institution is still necessary. That's why William's current efforts are so important. When he takes over, he's laying the foundation so the monarchy will still have a place in British society. William's vision doesn't just affect him, it affects everyone in the royal family. If he moves forward with a slimmed-down monarchy, that means fewer roles for extended family members. Some, like Princess Anne, have already accepted this shift, while others, like Prince Andrew, have been forced out due to scandals. But what about royals like Princess Beatrice? She has never been a working royal but holds a title and remains part of the family. How does she fit into William's future vision? This is where things get complicated. While William sees a future with fewer royals in the spotlight, there are still many questions about what happens to those on the fringes of the family. What role does William want Princess Beatrice to play in the changing monarchy? Stay tuned to find the answers and many more. The jaw-dropping offer. We mentioned that William wanted to modernize the royal family and make it more relevant and connected to the people. To do that, he needed the right team. However, Beatrice could never be a good choice for many family members. She had always been on the edges of royal duty, attending events and supporting charities, but never in the spotlight. Unlike William and Harry, she hadn't been groomed for the central royal role. She wasn't expected to carry the weight of the monarchy on her shoulders. But William saw potential in her. He knew he couldn't do it alone if he wanted to reshape the royal family. And the potential in Beatrice will be of great help to the royalty. After laying out his vision, William sat down with Beatrice and laid it out clearly. He wanted her to be more involved, not just as a supporting royal, but as someone who partakes in the day-to-day affairs of the palace. He needed people he could trust, who understood what being royal meant. She had spent her whole life exploring the strange world of royalty, balancing tradition with personal freedom. She had made mistakes, learned from them, and kept going. That was precisely what William needed. At first, she hesitated. Beatrice had always enjoyed a certain level of freedom that William never had. She had her career and her interests. Taking on a more significant role meant more responsibility and more scrutiny. But it also meant a chance to have a purpose within the royal family finally. You might be asking why Beatrice was the best option for William. Keep watching. We are almost there. For William, he wasn't thinking about the present. He was thinking long-term. The royal family had been shrinking, with fewer working royals to take on public duties. He knew he needed people who could help keep the institution strong when his time came. For several reasons, Beatrice made sense. First, she understood duty. Unlike some royals who had stepped away from their roles, she still valued the traditions and expectations of being a royal. She wasn't looking for an escape. She was looking for a place where she belonged. Also, she had a unique connection with the public. Beatrice had always been a bit of an underdog. She had faced challenges, criticism about her style, and scrutiny over her personal life, but she had never lashed out or turned her back on the family. People respected that. William knew the public would respond positively if she took on a more significant role. That's not all. Princess Beatrice could reach people in ways that other royals couldn't. But there is a problem. Even though William has made his plan and vision known to everyone, not everyone is cool with the idea of handing her a royal duty, and their reasons will surprise you. According to media reports, some royal family members are unsure Beatrice is the right fit. But despite their resistance, William does not back down. And for Beatrice, this was more than just stepping up. It was about finding her place in a family that had always kept her on the sidelines. She had grown up watching William and Harry carry the weight of the monarchy while she stayed in the background. Now, she had a chance to be part of something bigger. She agreed, but on her terms. She didn't want to be just another working royal with many appearances. She wanted a role that would not place her in the public eye. Beatrice's new role would not be about replacing anyone. It is about supporting William's vision for the monarchy. She would take on causes aligned with the modern royal family's direction, education, technology, and mental health. She would bridge the gap between tradition and the real world, using her experience outside the royal bubble to bring fresh ideas. She would also perform public duties, standing alongside William when needed. It was a shift for Beatrice and the entire royal family. She was stepping into a space that had never been meant for her, but sources believe she is ready to prove she belonged. With Beatrice on board, William's plan was starting to take shape. He wasn't just preparing for his reign. He is building a team to help the monarchy survive in a changing world. However, William immediately clarified that he wanted Beatrice to take the office. The question is, will she overcome resistance within the palace? Well, the answer will shock you. Stay with us. Princess Beatrice and palace opposition. Senior advisors, private secretaries, and longtime royal officials disagreed with Princess Beatrice's new role. Some agree that William owns the cards and can play how he sees fit, but others do not. For those who disagreed, it is not just skepticism. It was outright resistance. William had expected this reaction. He was prepared. He explained the motive behind his decision. The number of engagements wasn't decreasing, and there weren't enough senior royals to cover them. Beatrice was experienced, dedicated, and willing to contribute. This was about practicality, not just preference. But remember, logic didn't always win at the palace. The senior advisor made it known that their problem was not Beatrice. But that is where things get interesting. According to palace insiders, some royals complained that it wasn't about Beatrice but her father, Prince Andrew. According to one advisor, the British public still sees Beatrice in the light of Prince Andrew. If she takes on an official role, people may see it as the royal family trying to reintroduce him through her. For those who don't know, a cascade of public scandals has besieged the whole story of Prince Andrew's life. Remember, he was friends with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. That is not all. Virginia Giuffre also accused him of sexual assault. According to her, she was captured by Epstein and abused by Andrew while in captivity. That is not all. When Andrew attempted to address these claims in a BBC Newsnight interview, it backfired spectacularly and shocked the nation. Andrew surrendered his royal duties, military titles, and patronages in response, cutting him from official royal life. However, despite these fears, William insisted that his actions were not about Prince Andrew and Princess Beatrice and had nothing to do with his actions. Although William was right, it was not about Andrew. Perception often mattered more than reality in the royals' world. Even if Beatrice's record was spotless, the association with Andrew was enough to cause concern. The palace feared that the media would use this as an excuse to bring up Andrew's scandals again. The headlines would not be about Beatrice's work. They would be about her father. Even if they moved past the Andrew issue, another primary concern was setting a precedent. If Beatrice was given an official role, others in the extended family might expect the same. One of the officials raised this point. If Beatrice is brought in, what about Eugenie? And further down the line, what about Lady Louise? If we make this exception now, we may be unable to stop future claims. To Williams, it was not about opening the doors to everyone. All that mattered to him was the potential Beatrice had built. Beatrice is already involved in charity work. She understands the responsibilities and is committed. This is about what's best for the monarchy. But the palace didn't see it that way. To them, this looked like a step backward. They had worked to create a smaller, more streamlined royal family for years. They saw William's proposal as a return to a time when too many royals were involved in official duties. They feared it would be harder to justify keeping others out if Beatrice were brought in. Eventually, the discussion reached King Charles. William had expected resistance from the advisors, but what mattered most was where his father stood. According to media reports, Charles listened carefully. He understood William's concerns, but he also understood the palace's position. For years, Charles had led the effort to slim down the monarchy. He believed a smaller, more focused royal family was the future. Expanding it again would go against everything he had worked toward. He didn't reject William's idea outright, but didn't endorse it either. Instead, he stayed neutral. He told William that the issue required more discussion. He didn't want to create an immediate divide within the family, but wasn't ready to go against his advisors. For now, the decision is left open-ended. Beatrice had never asked for this. She had always accepted her position outside the core royal family. She had a career, a family, and a private life. Now, she was in a debate, and she hadn't started. She knew William supported her. She knew he believed she could handle the role, and she had always been loyal to the monarchy. But she also knew that stepping into an official position would change everything. Worst of all, she knew that no matter what she did, there would always be people questioning whether she deserved the role. Thank you for staying with us. What do you think about Prince William's attempts to assign Princess Beatrice a role in the royal family? Share your opinions with us in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, click the following video on your screen, and you will enjoy it.